I'm Hunter.
This is the Family Showdown! Howdy folks, Rebecca and Hunter here for Family Showdown, and today we are going to kick off my top 100 games of all time. So Hunter is here for commentary and heckling, and mostly heckling probably, and we'll do some comparisons and things like that in the after party afterwards, but just a little bit of background about how I picked the list and all that kind of stuff before we get started so you know where the heck I'm coming from. Last year, I did not officially make a top 100 list. I did make one, but I didn't share it with anyone because it was kind of scraping from the barrel and just, I was only using our collection and blah, 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 blah. So, we published just my top 10 games of all time last year, and so we'll do some comparisons with that. But it'll be interesting to see in the coming years the changes that evolve from this list. I think this is more of a good solid base. This is the first year for me that I really got into playing current games and gaming in general, like really heavily. Hunter started a year before, got to go to a couple conventions, but this is the first year I got to go and do those, and we really played a lot of games at those and got introduced to a lot of games and different things, so that made a huge difference. That'll make my list also change quite a bit, I think, in the next year, just because again the exposure is just so much higher to a lot of just the sheer number of games. Because of this, I did draw the line on the date when I made this list. We have played some games around Christmas time that would be on this top 100 list, but I made my list in the second week of December, and I am not editing that every single time because, oh my gosh, I would really and truly, my top 100 would be much more of a rolling list. Mine's not as set in stone as probably yours.
Well, mine changed quite a bit, but yeah, you're right. We did play probably since the middle of December, like probably 10 or 15 really, really good games.
Yeah, so you know, I have to draw the line somewhere, or I'd be constantly working on this, because for me, as I'll talk about, like, what I put into when I rank these, what happens while we're playing and stuff's going to affect the list pretty greatly with me. So it's not updated based on any of the plays since then. What I did base this off of was, it had to be in our collection. That kind of helped narrow it down some, because there were a few games, outliers, that really enjoyed and whatnot that we don't own, but very few of those for me so much, but it helped narrow it down some.
Yep.
Then B, I did make sure that it was games, they were games that I have at least played twice, so I didn't put any cheat games.
Being a little more strict in your listing.
I was strict because I had to help narrow it down. There's some games that are definitely going to be on this list next year.
I think that was a veiled shot in my list.
It was not a veiled shot. It was blatant. No, just kidding. It was no, I mean, I had to narrow it down because there's some that I know, wow, they're going to be on my list next year, but I only played them once, and sometimes your opinion will change a little bit when you play multiple plays, so. Or we, you know, in that case, we only played it multiplayer, and Hunter and I a lot of times will test our games by playing two-player or something.
Right.
So anyway, there was just all of that stuff, and I didn't want to muddy the waters. I got rid of all that. If I've only done one play, it's not in here. Let's see, what else? Captured those, and beside all of the games themselves, like how they ranked to me and how smooth the gameplay is, I also weigh into account my experiences and memories playing those games. That is the reason I'm in the hobby itself, so to me that's a really important factor. If it's a fantastic game, that's great, but if I was kind of had a meh experience playing it, it's not going to rank as highly as something that may be a lesser game, but I had a fantastic time playing it with people. We had a really great gaming experience, or I introduced a bunch of people to it from it. You know, there's a lot of things that are attached to that, and the memories are what make this a good hobby for me. So, and I'll explain when that happens. Most of the time I have something specific about that I'll explain, but that goes into account. That's a huge factor too. And then I think that's pretty much it to add. If
I have one thing to say.
You do? I'm curious.
I have my list here.
Okay.
We will be comparing and contrasting.
Interesting.
So, you have not seen my top 100 of all time,
Spoilers!
this will be spoiling that list. So just be aware that I will be giving my numbers of games and comparing them to hers.
Cool.
I think it's a good thing to have a comparison, because if it ranks well on her list and it ranks well on my list, that probably tells you it's a pretty solid game, because over the last year our taste in games have kind of spread a little bit, because she is still very much the Omni gamer, and I'm starting to slide over to the heavier games. So
Yes, and I really do truly think I am an Omni gamer. I like to play a little bit of everything. I really love the heavy games. I really love party games. I love kids games. I love a little bit of everything. So, and you will see that my list definitely reflects that. So, without further ado then,
let's do this.
we will start with today my 100 through 91. And my 100, okay, don't look, don't peek, don't peek. I hid the game, so it's a surprise for him. My 100 is Suro.
Okay.
And actually, it was kind of funny. Side story, another memorable thing. We got to play a ginormous version of Suro at West Texas, wasn't it? West Texas Convention.
Yep.
That was a blast. They had one, and you stood. I mean, you were your piece standing on it, and the mats were bigger. Gosh. Triple the size of this thing.
Yeah,
they were big.
Yeah.
So oh, it was fun. We're laying down these big mats and going around and moving around. This is fun. But in this nice, highly portable box, it is also really fun. You are placing down tiles that have little tracks, and you're going to take your little dragon on the tracks, and your goal is to stay on the board and not end up on a path that leads you off, falling off the edge of the world. And of course, you don't want to collide with the other players. So it's a really fun game. I've had a blast playing this with our girls and with family and friends. It's kind of a family game and a gamer's game because there's some strategy involved. You know, it's an abstract game, but all ages can enjoy this one.
Yep. It's just a real super simple light game.
So there you go. That is my 100. That is Suro. And then my 99 is a fairly recent addition to our list, and that is Diamonds. This one is another one. I've actually played this several times now and really enjoy the gameplay, because I like a lot of card games. I grew up playing card games with the family, and this is just a card game with a little bit of a twist with the diamonds. And I really enjoy that because you can sit there and chat and banter and do stuff while you're playing this game. It's a nice casual card game. You can teach anybody. Kids can play it. This is a huge hit by Stronghold in my book.
Yeah, it's just a classic. It feels like a classic trick-taking game.
Yes.
And the diamonds really, if you really kind of think about it, the diamonds themselves are just a way to keep score, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of the trick-taking
Yeah.
games, you do a round of round of play, and then you take score, and then you do a round of play and take score. The diamonds kind of
Are your score,
take
yeah.
the score as you go along, right?
So you have a physical representation of it. It's kind of fun because you can heckle people, because you can steal diamonds from other people, and it's a pretty good time. I really enjoyed this. Diamonds. And that's my 99. So my 98, we did our first blender on this, actually.
No?
And that was Camel Up. And this is a very funny press your luck racing game where you are betting on which color camel is going to win. And of course, because of the crazy randomness of the dice and how you place your bets, you're trying to bet who's going to win, who's going to lose. And of course, it's funny. You can do as much as you can to kind of hedge your bets, but it's still going to have quite a bit of effect on the randomness and whatnot. Very fun game. We've played it with just about every player count by now. Yeah. And it's always gone off pretty well. So
I'm looking to see if it's on my list here. I think it's close to.
Yeah.
Now keep going. Keep going.
Okay. I was just curious. The pieces are really good. It's very colorful. They're sturdy, and it's got this cute pyramid that they use to roll the dice. A little cute gimmick in the game to kind of twist up your normal rolling the dice. So this is just a really fun family game. And I think we've had fun playing it with a gamer group too, actually. So this is another one of those that you could play with kids, adults, whatever. Everybody has a good time.
Yeah, and it's good convention game too.
Oh yeah, that
throw down at conventions. Yeah.
Yes, very good one for that.
Yeah, I don't see it on my list, so I guess it didn't make it. I thought it was, but
well, if it isn't, it's probably barely off.
Yeah,
It's pretty high up there.
I like that one. That's a good one.
Yep. So that's my 98. My 97, sadly, I have a very strong feeling is unless something changes is going to end up off my list next year. That's just because it just doesn't get played. And that is...
Oh, wait, I found it. Camel Up, number 59.
Oh,
Yeah.
very high up, actually.
Yep.
Battlestar Galactica.
Oh, yeah.
And this one, again, it would probably be higher if we got to play it. We just don't get to play it anymore. And it's a longer game. It's 3 to 6 players, which is also part of the problem for us. But it's a cooperative game with a traitor.
Yeah.
And I think this was my first cooperative game with a traitor I've ever played. And every time we played it, it has been hilarious. We've had a blast with this. Something crazy always goes down.
I don't think we've ever nailed down the right traitor ever.
No, I don't think we have. That's the best part. And so at the end, everybody's scrambling to try to, you know, save themselves. It's been pretty awesome. So, Battlestar Galactica, fantastic game with Traitor, and you don't necessarily have to be a fan of this. I hadn't seen the show until long after we'd been playing the game.
Right.
To have a blast with it. I saw the original ones way back in the day,
Right.
but that's not a requirement for this. So don't think that because it's got that IP on it that you have to say, oh, not for me. It's pretty fun.
Yeah, the thing about Battlestar Galactica and the reason it doesn't get played is minimum 3 players.
Yeah.
And long.
Yep.
And heavy.
Yep.
And that's just like the 3 strikes against it, right? So this one just doesn't ever get played.
It seems like because a lot of times we have newer gamers playing with us lately, so this is not one you want to throw down with a bunch of new people because it's a little too heavy for that.
But even if they could handle the heaviness, it's just a long game.
It's
right?
a long game.
And this one is my number 52.
Wow. Sorry I'm destroying your list, dear.
Yeah. So 2 not on the list and 2 in my 50s. So.
Yep. So that's my 97.
Alright.
Alright. My 96 is going to make you cry.
Oh dear.
He's going to cry. Champions.
Oh!
Champions Midgard. This is one of Hunter's favorite games. And one of the reasons I do like it so much is because he loves it so much. But the dice hate me in this game. But I love it. The theme is fantastic. The options you have for this game are fantastic. I personally don't think there's enough dice mitigation for someone that's as craptastic a roller as I am, but it does have some dice mitigation in it. Everything's there. It is actually a very fun game, and it's obviously really good if it's even in a top 100. Period. It's just somebody believes it should be higher.
Yeah, maybe around like number 6, 5. 1, 2.
Are you serious?
Number 5.
Apparently the things that we like best in a game are not the same, so.
Man.
But it's an awesome game.
Can I protest the next 5? Just out of spite?
You can. See ya.
But no, man, she really, when she plays this game, for whatever reason, man, the dice just doesn't work for her. I don't know. I think it may be that she just freaks out a lot when she rolls badly, and it stresses that part. I think I really need to, next time we
You're
play
gonna film this, huh?
Film it so that we can prove that she's not.
That'll be the luckiest game I ever played. It's gonna be on film. I actually think I want to film it now because I'd love to win this game.
Oh man.
No, there's actually some really great cards, and there's a lot of neat stuff in this game. There's a lot to this game. I love this game. It would be higher on my list if it didn't hate me so much.
It's broken.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry, not sorry. Now that's my 96 Champions Midgard. Now my number 95 has been a what? Oh, you're just stunned, aren't you? This one has been a hit and will continue to be so. But I have other games of like nature that will be higher up on the list. This is probably gonna stun you, but Spyfall. Oh, look, I killed him. Spyfall. Yes, I know. This is my 95, and it's much higher on Hunter's list. I personally am not the world's largest fan of the social deductions typically because I suck at them. But I really enjoy them because the games themselves are hilarious. Just because I stink at them doesn't mean that they're not good games. They're awesome games. They're really fun, and I really enjoy watching everyone else actually do really well at this. This is a really fun game. And in Spyfall in particular, everyone gets a location card, and it's all the same, so we'll say we're at a hotel. But the spy has a card that just says spy, and they have to figure out where they are by the questions that people are volleying back and forth. So you can pick a random person across the table and say, so-and-so, you know, why are you here today? And they have to answer your question. But they have to answer it in such a way that they let everyone know that they know the location, but they don't reveal where the location is to the spy. And so there's this whole thing coming through, and the accusations fly, and goofy hints, and confusion, and false accusations, and it's pretty exciting. It's always been a blast when we play this.
Sounds like a really amazing game.
It is an amazing game. That's why it's on my top 100.
That's why it was my number 7.
Somebody's,
What's next? My number 1? Pull it out. Let's
Oh, man. Somebody's a little sensitive this evening.
Wow.
Oh, my God.
Man, I thought I knew her.
All right, so that was my 95. My 94 is another kind of recent addition for us. We first played this at Dice Tower Con, and that is Imhotep. And this game is really fun. We've played it 2-player. We've played a 4-player. You can play with anybody. In fact, our very first game was with some con friend, and then someone who just walked up and wanted to play, who was not used to gaming much. So we got to explain the game and teach it to someone brand new while we were learning, and we all had a really good time with the game. And that for us was, we need to buy this game.
Yeah.
So you've got cubes, and you're placing them on boats, and they're going to be assigned to go to certain locations, and based on the locations they have certain activities you do with the cubes. And one, you're going to be building up a pyramid. You get points based off of how it's built, and another one, it's you're lining up cubes, and it depends on which ones are touching is how many points you get from that. It's just each area is a little bit different, has a little bit different goal, but of course the end goal is, excuse me, to get the most points, as always. And just the strategy is great. This is a great family weight game. We've talked about that before, that it's probably a really good introduction for people into a strategy style game, and would be a gateway game in that case. But
Yeah,
it's fun.
Yeah, that's one that's easy to cheat. I've taught it many, many times at conventions and just friends and things like that. It's just super light, super easy to play, and it's got a great visual appeal to it.
Yeah, it's a really pretty game. Always stops people to look and see what you're playing.
And it was my number 65.
Not too shabby.
Yeah.
Imhotep.
So that one doesn't break my heart as much.
Oh, okay. You're all right there, huh? All right. My number 93 is a game that I like to play. I could play this over and over all the time. And that is Splendor. And this one's pretty portable for me. I've always seemed to find it takes up a little bit of space, but we've always been able to kind of cram it on and play it on just about any size table. And it's another one of those casual games where you can teach people that maybe haven't gamed as much about it. It's not too complicated. It's really beautiful to look at. And the chips they have for this are like the super heavy-duty poker chips. Really beautiful game. And you're using those to, the chips are different gems, and you need different combinations and numbers of certain kinds of gems to purchase cards. And as you're purchasing more cards, you're using those, you're kind of building up a your own little bank, so to speak, to purchase more and more cards to get more, and as they get larger and more expensive, you're starting to get victory points off of those. So in the end, again, trying to get the most victory points, but it's a really pretty, beautiful way to do it. And I enjoy the strategy involved with that. You're trying, some of them you have to kind of race the other people. You know, they may be going after the same card as you are. And the strategy and it's just a nice game, and it's not so thinky that you can't talk and do other things while you're playing it. So
Maybe talk a little too much while you're playing it.
Oh, I'm not AP. That's how rude. So
No, I mean, this game is so light and so casual.
oh, you could talk too much and miss something.
It lends itself to people just starting conversations, and the game just kind of stops. So this is not in my top 100 for that very reason. It's that, in my experience, this becomes like a coffee table game where people just kind of talk around it. And
that's why I like it. See, he doesn't like that. I like to have games like that sometimes. So you can sit there and be hardcore with it, but yes, we tend to make it a chatty game. So I like Splendor. That's my 93. And then my 92 brings an element of chaos to this not really chaotic list. And that is Galaxy Trucker. This game, oh my goodness. This is not for the faint of heart. You have two parts to this game. First part, you're spending all this time, you have a timer, and you're building your ship as fast as you can, but you want to build it as beautifully and like flawlessly as possible, because any flaws are to your detriment. Because the second part of the game is trying to survive the onslaught of, what is it, space pirates, I think it is, and meteors and stuff, and they're just flinging guns and things at you and breaking off parts of your ship. So if you have a ship left over at the end, kudos to you. But most of the game is destroying what you took so many pains to build, and that's Galaxy Trucker. So if you like a chaotic game like that, this is awesome and really fun. But if you're very sensitive about the things that you've built up and you want to keep them, this is not the game for you.
Yeah, I thought this one might be a little bit higher on your list.
I think with more plays, it probably would. Honestly.
Yeah, it was my 53.
Oh, wow. Wow, interesting. So I think we have more plays in our future is what you're saying.
Yeah, it's I mean, I really like it. It's a fun, I just think it's hilarious when you were sitting there and your ship is like cruising along just fine. Everybody else's ships are just blowing up and falling apart. It's hilarious.
Yeah, you did have a really good... I had one weak pipe on one, and just by chance, a meteor came in and like sheared off a third of my ship, and he's hysterical while I'm just putting all my pieces to the side. It's, yes.
I believe that we called that round the wing and a prayer, right?
Yes, that was... I came hobbling into the end of that round. So yeah, it's a really fun game. And last but not least for today is my number 91. And this one's a little bit of a chaotic game too, but in a different way. And that is Escape. Escape, the Curse of the Temple. What you're doing with this game is it's, what do they call it, real time? You're rolling the dice together, and it's cooperative, and you're rolling as fast as you can. And as soon as you get your things, you get certain symbols, you can unlock the next, go and explore the next room in the temple. You're going through trying to get treasures and unlock as much of the temple as possible because you have to find your escape route. And meanwhile, in the background, you've got this ominous background, creepy like Indiana Jones in the temple kind of music playing, and occasionally a gong will ring and you have to rush back to the entrance, and if you don't make it in time, all sorts of bad things happen, and everybody's working together because if you roll a whole bunch of your dice badly, you can get locked out of rolling your dice, and so people have to come running into your room and save you, and then everybody has to get back to work again, and everybody's yelling and shrieking and help, and it's just funny. The music is so intense that we actually won't let our girls play it yet because they freak out over it, so it's pretty fun. It's a really fun game. It would be a family game if you don't have silly girls.
Yeah, it's just... What, 15 minutes of chaos?
I think it is, yeah.
Or something like that. It's insanity.
It doesn't say on there. It's funny, it just says real time, but it is, I think it is a chunk of like 10 minutes. And, or is it 10? Yeah, you're right, 10 or 15, and you have, the timer tells you it's set up 10 minutes. So every game you play, no matter how many players, is going to last the same amount of time too. And that's one thing I like about that. And you can roll and just, it gets crazy. So, very fun game, Escape, Curse of the Temple. So that is my 100 through 91. What will be coming next?
More heartbreak, probably.
More heartbreak for Hunter. And more exciting game choices for you. So we will see you soon.